Micah here, CEO of Arroyo. At Arroyo, we're building a new state-of-the-art stream processing engine to replace legacy Java systems like Flink and KSQL. And so I was really excited last week to see a new system that's doing the same thing for Kafka. It's called WarpStream, and it's built around an insight that you see in a lot of modern big data systems, which is that S3 is really cheap and fast. So we can just use it as our storage layer without needing expensive local disks or replication. And since it comes out of the box with a Kafka compatible API, I wanted to see how easy it would be to plug it into Arroyo and use as source and sink for complex data processing. So let's try it. We're going to run the demo here. We're going to install the binary. And then start the demo. This opens up a dashboard where we can see statistics about our new cluster. You can see there's generated some demo data that we can use to read off of. And then we're going to start an Arroyo cluster. We're going to start this using the Docker command that's on our website. It's up and running. We can open up the web UI. And then we can start creating a pipeline. We're going to read off of this WarpStream demo stream here, these fields. So we can define that with a create table statement. First, we have to describe the schema. You can see there's a timestamp field. That's a big int. A user ID field, that's a text, a page ID, and an action. And then because this is a connector table, we're trying to talk to an external system, we have to tell Arroyo how to interact with that system. We're going to use the Kafka connector because we're using the Kafka compatible API. We're going to tell it it's a source and that the data we're reading off is JSON. Next, we have to tell it how to connect to WarpStream, which is via this Kafka Bootstrap servers configuration. We can go to the web UI, find that URL, just plug that in. And then finally, we have to tell it the topic that we're going to read from, which is called demo stream. You can see here. And now we can just, we have to give this table a name. Let's call it WarpStream. Now we can just read off of this table and see what the data looks like. So we can see the raw events coming off of the stream here. But probably we want to do something more interesting. Let's take, for example, this aggregation query. This groups data via a session window, which groups activity via a minimum gap size. So if a user doesn't have activity for, let's say, 10 seconds, then they'll get a new window. And then we're going to compute these aggregates, counting the number of clicks, scrolls, hovers in that window. But if we try to run this right now, we're going to run into a problem, which is that, as we can see here, all the timestamps of the events off of Kafka are the Unix epoch. They're times 0. And that means that Arroyo doesn't have an event time to work with. It doesn't know when events happen. But we can see there's this timestamp field here. It has the actual event time. We just need to extract that and tell Arroyo to use it for the event time in the system. We can do that by defining these event time and watermark virtual fields. And I'm not going to go into too much what these mean. Please check out the docs. There's some great resources there on all of these streaming concepts. Once we've defined those virtual fields, we just have to tell Arroyo to use them as the event time and watermark on the source. Perfect. Now we can run this query. And there they are. We have our counts. This is just an example of how we can use WarpStream with Arroyo, and we're really excited to see what people do with this. Thanks. See you next time.